I'll see you just now, and hopefully we've got some more birds to our list.
Okay, we've checked Treehouse Dam. Unfortunately, we found nothing there except, Brian, a
terrapin
and
a bird.
And what was that bird, Brian?
It was a dove.
What kind of dove, Brian?
It was an emerald spotted dove.
Oh, not an Namakwa dove then.
No, why would you think an Namakwa dove, James?
I can't imagine, Brian. Brian said, "Oh, there's a Namakwa dove." I said, "Are you sure?"
Trying to throw me under the bus, James.
Are you sure it was a Namakwa dove? It's not impossible, of course. Could well have been. Now, we've come along here in order to find some leopard tracks. We've found no such thing. Now, that is encouraging in one respect, simply because it means that perhaps that Karula is around here somewhere on the kill, or that we've just missed the tracks. That's equally possible. But let's drive to the far eastern sector here, western sector, and see what we can pick up. I'm also quite hopeful. Now, you know, Shadow has stashed her cubs in a ridiculously stupid place on a culvert on the main sort of access road, but it's not far from our western boundary, and I know that she was seen going off on a hunting foray a few nights ago, and so with any luck we might be able to see her doing the same again. Sam has found something else to show you.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm going to talk in a softer voice because I don't want to make too much of a noise when I'm sitting here with the butterfly. I just think it's, not that it's going to fly away if I talk too loudly, but I just would like to keep it down when I'm amongst such delicate, beautiful animal or butterflies. And what we have in front of us here is a blue pansy. It's actually the same butterfly that I saw this morning with James. It's such an incredible butterfly, and I loved learning about you know how those little balls that you can see on the butterfly actually act as camouflage for a butterfly and trying to show predators that it might be eyes. I think that's fascinating. You know, animals and plants are always trying to adapt to their environments and trying to connect to the bush in such a way that it can become resilient. And so it's amazing how creatures form the ability to adapt to the landscapes, and I really admire them, and I often think about how I would adapt to a landscape if I was stripped of all the things that I had and how I would adapt. So you're a beautiful, beautiful butterfly. Thank you for being the first butterfly that I had on the show. I will never forget you, Blue Pansy, forever. Jean-Ray thinks that's quite funny. Thanks, Jean-Ray. We're going to carry on. Hello, Judas in Canada. The question was, just going to take this off. The question was, how do I spell my surname? Well, you spell my surname with a C, and then an H, and then an E, and then a V, and an A, and an L, and an L, and an I, and an E, and an R. Chevalier, Chevalier, which actually means a knight, a French knight, or a black knight. So that's my surname. My second name is Barrington, so my full name is Samuel Barrington Chevalier. Wow. Wow. Got some tracks. Do you know what would make me so excited is if we could see a leopard. I still haven't seen a leopard since I've been here. I came in my interview and we found tracks, myself and Scott, who, if Scott's watching, I don't know if he is, but I just want to say thank you to Scott, who made my interview a lot easier and also a lot of fun, really. You helped me relax and you helped me enjoy the bushveld for what it really is and how I could actually try and share it with the viewers. Wow. So I didn't see a leopard when I was here last time. And yeah, as I said with Scott, we were looking through the drainage line to see if we could find one, and didn't manage to see one. But maybe this afternoon, if I look hard enough, and hopefully you guys can also look through the screen to see if you can see anything moving in front of us. But ways in which we can find leopard is not only through looking for tracks. I mean, that's one way. Sometimes we bump the leopard. And we've got a bird there. I think that those were the helmet strikes. What do you think, Chandra? Did you see them? Oh, and there's a francolin. Jeepers, sorry everyone, got in your way. Still trying to learn the tricks of getting away from the camera when I need to. And I just did that as I said that. So what we just saw over here was a crested francolin, if I'm not correct, which is another list that we can write here, a name to our list. And they make an incredibly loud sound, the crested francolin. You might have heard it as we drove close to it now, the crested francolin. Often with a crested francolin, you'll see it moving on the road in front of us. Sometimes you drive and they just follow your vehicle in front of you and they don't move. And then you stop and you wait for them and sometimes they don't move. It's quite hilarious. But thank you very much, crested francolin, for showing us your presence. As I was saying, on the subject of birds and leopards, leopards don't only get found through tracking. We can also find leopards through birds. So birds will sometimes alarm call at a leopard, and that'll be a sign to tell us that maybe there's a leopard in the area. At the same time, you can also hear the alarm call of squirrels. Squirrels will make a remarkably loud call, and that can sometimes show that there's a leopard. Sometimes it can be a snake, like a black mamba, that gets in the way and makes a very, very loud sound. But that's something that we've got to try and listen for. Perfect timing. Myself and Chandra are gonna slowly creep through the wilderness here, and we're gonna listen out for any bird calls that are alarm calling, and you're gonna see what James is up to. So I'll see you just now.
Hello everybody, you find me in the puddle that used to be the home of Pinchy Whiner, and I got in here because Brian said that he saw something scuttling. Now Pinchy Whiner, for those of you who are new viewers, is a freshwater crab, or was a freshwater crab that lived in this hole over here. And what I did was, it turned out to be a wolf spider, not a crab. And so I re-excavated his hole for him. I found it and used this stick to dig it out. And I'm hoping, there's actually quite a bit of...
Audio's breaking a bit.
Oops. There's quite a bit of metabolic heat coming out of this hole. So maybe he's still in there and maybe he's still alive. But I can't see him down there. Anyway, we've opened it up, and with any luck, Pinchy Whiner will live again sometime soon. Good luck, Pinchy. I was going to try and put a bug in there just to sort of help him through the tough times, but I decided not to. Mainly because you came across to have a look what I was doing, and I knew that some of you would feel sorry for the bug that I fed to Pinchy Whiner. Pinchy Whiner, of course, is the best name that a crab has ever had. Named after Mark Whiner, a great naturalist of the Wild Earth era. How's that? It's quite a nice way of putting it, don't you think, Brian? The Wild Earth era.
Indeed.
Makes you feel part of something big, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh, I haven't plugged myself in yet. Hang on. So many wires everywhere. Oh dear, I think I've lost this one. There we go. Okay, I'm back in. No sign of shadow either. So we're going to drive back down sort of towards the area where Jamie had the last tracks, but tracking this time of the day, not hugely successful. So we'll just see what else we can find. Hello Ellen in Arkansas, an interesting one, of course. Shadow, who's got cubs, it's Karula's daughter, and she lives right next to, they've got territories adjacent to each other. And Ellen, you want to know if they were to meet each other with their cubs, would they avoid each other? Would they fight to the death? What would happen? Because they're related, it's highly unlikely that there would be a physical confrontation. There may well be some growling and some angry talk, and then I think they'd split apart and go away from each other. It's not impossible though that they might share a kill sort of by default if it's close to the boundary. And I know of an example of a female leopard adopting a cub from her daughter, which was absolutely amazing to see. That was at Londolozi. 3-4 female had lost one of her cubs, and she was still lactating. Her daughter also had cubs, and she basically just adopted one of them. So, you know, you'll never read about that in the textbook because they'll tell you it's impossible, but anything can happen. I think it's highly unlikely that they would fight each other though, especially not to the point that they did each other damage. Thank you, Ellen, for that. Sun is starting to set, and so what I think we're going to do, rather than hang around too much in this area hoping for a leopard sighting, I think we should probably head off towards, Brian?
The hyena den.
Yes, the hyena den. Because I have yet to see my favourite friends out here since my return from leave. Brian, have you seen them?
No.
No, not at all. So we're going to go off towards Aubrey's Road and see if the hyena den is active. It was this morning. Well, that was until we went that way, and then we didn't find anything. Well, we didn't go there. I think Jamie went to have a look there this morning, and I don't think there was anything around. There is an impala ram. Hello, Mr. Impala. Of course, the impala starting to spend more and more time alone. Jamie didn't go to the hyena den this morning, but I do know that it was active because Taxon definitely went. There he goes. These rams no longer friends to each other as their testosterone levels go through the roof and they fight over mating opportunities and the chance for a territory. There he goes. Not so fearful on their own anymore. And that's just simply bravado brought on by an increased testosterone, and that testosterone increase, interestingly, there's a fairly fresh track of a male leopard here. Just go a little bit further forward. Really want to waste these tracks. There they are. You see them there, Brian? Let me see if I can do one of these tricks. There we go. There. You can see there is the male leopard track, distinct from the females just by the size, but this is not a very big male leopard track. It might actually be, no, it is a male. Okay, what we're going to do, we're still going to head to the hyena den, but I'm just going to take a slightly different route. I didn't see these tracks on the last road we were on, so I'm guessing that they probably went into, this might be a female that's running, you know, they don't look very big. As we know, there are no young males around. I'm pretty sure this is a male. Okay, so we're just going to do a slight detour. Obviously not close to here, otherwise that impala, well, it might be in imminent danger of dying as we speak, but I can't think so. I think a leopard probably went through there. Didn't see it on the road over here. So we'll just take a slightly different route down towards the hyena den. Yeah, it's not here. Not here. Hello Vera, you're in Ohio and you want to know, will Karula leave her cubs in the den alone? Yes, she will. Definitely, she has to. She has to go and hunt. And these days, of course, they're now 2 months old. So she might just leave them climbing in a tree, actually. They're old enough to get away from potential predators at the moment. Don't see any further tracks, I must say. Okay. We'll just drive down this road. I suspect that whoever it is has gone off in here. It might pop out onto the road again. But like I say, tracking in this light, as the light starts to finish, is, well, it's just very difficult. Beautiful smells all over the place, from the flowers and the herbs, the aniseed, the basil, all wild versions thereof. And Brent says to me that you can eat that wild aniseed. Yep. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Hello Zoe on Twitter. You want to know about any interesting animal sightings I may have had while I was on my leave? The only interesting animals I saw were domestic stock. A couple of cattle, a few goats, a donkey or two, a horse, 2 dogs, and I don't think I saw a cat. No, I didn't see. Watch out. So Andrew says that the hyena den is active, so we're going to head there quite quickly. Hello Heidi in Switzerland. I love the fact that we have a Heidi from Switzerland watching us. Very appropriate name, of course. And Heidi, you want to know that the hyena den is the same one as before. It's one of the same ones as before, yes. It's the Albury's Road den. I think it's relatively new. I don't think it's been used before this year. Or maybe early last year it was used. But no, in fact, it definitely wasn't. It's early this year that they started using it, but they have abandoned it and then sort of gone back to it. So it is at least its second usage. They may have used it a couple of years before that, but not since I've been here. They used it before this year. But you are correct. I mean, lots of the den sites that they have around here, they reuse quite regularly. And I know of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 den sites of these hyenas. And that's just one little clan, and it's not a very big clan either. So we'll head towards them now. What usually happens is now that the female or the adults will go foraging basically as the sun sets. It's amazing. As the sun goes down, they make their little calls. The youngsters go back into the burrows after they've been feeding, and then the adults go off and try and find something to eat for the night. Because whatever Brian is sneezing at is definitely getting into my nose as well now, I must say. I wonder what it is. I suspect quite strongly it's pollen. Ooh, just quickly, this is quite fun. That rock in the road, can you see it there? How do you think that got there? Everyone? Oh, you had the same sighting with Jamie the other day. Okay, well, I'll tell you then. It was probably put there by an elephant. And the elephants, I've seen an elephant pick a rock up. I often used to find them on the road and think, how on earth did that get there? And I saw an elephant then one day pick up a rock, walk around with it, put it down, have something to eat, pick it up again, and then put it down in the middle of a road. So elephants do that sort of thing. I'm sorry that that's a second-hand sighting that you've had there. Ooh, Brian, I've got just the thing for our allergies, I do. I don't know if it actually helps allergies, but we're going to eat them anyway. Delicious. Delicious, delicious. White berries, Brian, white berries.
Oh, yes.
Not that delicious. And not quite ripe. So we'll just take a few. The whiter they are, the riper they are. There you are, Brian. I'll give you the 3 ripest ones.
Yes, thank you. Or you just sabotaged me.
No, I haven't. So that's what they look like. And they're pale sort of minty green at the moment, but they will go white. Hence white berry bush, but they're quite sweet. They've just got a slightly bitter aftertaste when they're not quite ripe. Here's a really ripe one. These ones, and of course the guarries, are coming into fruit now. That was a good one. Tastes a bit like sweet peas. The white berry bush. Delicious. Okay. Let's move a little bit quicker. Have your allergies gone, Brian? Immediately. Instantly. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. Let's go across to Sam. We're going to drive a little bit quicker to get to the den before the sun sets. I'll see you there.
Hello, we are here with an old friend of mine. Well, I wouldn't call it a friend. I mean, it would be more of a foe if I consumed it or did anything silly like that. It's called the poison apple, or otherwise known as the night lampshade. It was amazing. I haven't seen this flower in so long, and I just came into my sight and I saw it and I just remembered it straight away, which I'm just quite excited about because I thought I'd, forget quite a lot of the bushveld, and it's just incredible to have a look at the poison apple. And what's actually poisonous about the plants is not actually the flower itself, but it's actually the berries that it has. It's the greenish berries, if I remember correctly, greenish yellow. And if you consume those, they can be toxic to us. So, if you're in the bushveld and you look like you can see a berry that you want to eat and it's got poison nightshade over here, I wouldn't recommend it. Depending on how my time goes out here, who knows, someone in camp might get... No, I'm joking, you won't get a berry in your meal. I'll be very nice to everyone because you guys have been incredible to me. So, thank you. But here we are, and we're going to carry on. Just to the west of us is a beautiful sunset that's going on. It's been a long time since I've been back in the bushveld, and so to see this sunset is making me extremely, extremely excited. I'm just going to pop on my earpiece and we can get on the goings. All right. I haven't seen any other birds since we were last here. I was actually just sitting with this beautiful flower since I've been here. And yes, I must say that I love my flowers. From the string of stars to, I think it's called the foxglove. And I'll never forget when I was in the wild sesame. I was just so blown away by the beauty that this the bushveld can create, especially in the driest of times. Something, I think it's called the impala lily, which comes out towards winter, which is a clear sign that winter's coming. I think that's correct. So hopefully we'll start seeing the impala lily. But guys, this is great. Have a look to the west. Have a look at that sunset. I'm actually just going to switch off the car. Look at that, everyone. In these moments, I just just in front of that beautiful sunset is a warthog. Hello. So once again, it's been a great introduction back into WildEarthTV. I must say I was very nervous as I came back and how I would react in front of camera again, because this really isn't nothing like the live safari, and it's just, it's so, when you're on live TV, it's so, you actually just get an energy, and I feel very energized being in front of the camera, and to sit here and look at this beautiful sunset with all of you and this beautiful warthog in front of us is great. Something that I truly believe in is shared experiences. I was, just last week, I was with my twin brother. His name's Thomas Chevalier, and he's in Cape Town, and we were planting with a whole bunch of friends of ours a community garden just outside Cape Town, a vegetable garden. And we did it with the local community, and we did it with friends of ours and the little kids from the community, and it was so incredible because we did something in our country. As you know, I think South Africa is going through quite a hard time politically, and so of course that's having social issues, but it's just so amazing to immerse yourself within the optimism of this country. And when you have shared experiences where you got your hands in the soil and you're connecting with people, it really brings, at least it brings me together with people. And when you have something in common with someone, you get to know them better. So the fact that I'm sharing, my experience here with the natural world with you brings commonality, and the more connected our community of people are becoming around the world, and the more aware we are becoming of the natural environment. And it's crucial, especially now that we've become more aware of this beautiful paradise that exists around us, and this earth that is just so incredible, and that we are alive. I mean, the stars, the sun, the sunsets, the warthogs, we're all enjoying this incredible life on earth. I love it so much. With that, a beautiful sunset, and genre is great photography, or videography, sorry, not photography. We're going to carry on into the sunset, and we're going to see what other birds we might be able to see on the rest of the drive. Red-billed, was it red-billed or yellow-billed? I know it's a hornbill. We've got two more in front of us. Looks like a red-billed. Yeah, red-billed hornbill. I'm gonna write that down quickly. While I write that down, Monique in London is asking me whether, if there's any other types of, I think it was herbs. Was it herbs in the bushveld or like wild basil? I think it's wild basil that you said here. And to be honest, I actually don't know, Monique. I'm not sure if there is a wild basil. I think maybe someone else has spoken to you. Oh, Jandre is nodding his head at me. So there is such a thing as wild basil. So I'm excited to see that when we see it on drive. I'm going to ask Jandre to point it out, and then we can have a look at the wild basil together. But I'm just thinking back of my time in the Cederberg, and there was actually a wild rosemary in the Cederberg, which is just north of Cape Town. Sorry, I didn't explain where that was. The Cederberg is where I lived for a couple of months, just north of Cape Town. It's home to the Cape leopard and the black eagle, which are a vulnerable species at the moment. And I enjoyed my time up there, living up there, learning about that ecology. Completely different environment out there. Beautiful mountains. Oh, that was a great shot of a hornbill. Wow. That's a great shot of that hornbill, everyone. That with the beautiful sunset in the distance there. Fantastic evening drive. What a welcome to Safari Live. What a welcome. Extraordinary. Amazing. Thanks, guys. That's great. I really enjoyed that. That's a full sighting of the hornbill. But just going back to the Cederberg. Cederberg is an incredible landscape, very harsh landscape that is home to succulent plants, as well as the the plants from the Protea family, from the the fynbos, which is the Cape Town type of plants, and so it's a mixture between Karoo and fynbos, and you'll find many different species of plants there, from erica to restios. That is where I learned so much about plants. They're very passionate about learning about plants, and it was incredible there. And in the Cederberg was the wild rosemary, which you could, otherwise known in Afrikaans as the kortenbos, and you used to be able to crush the kortenbos, otherwise wild rosemary, onto meat, and you cook that on a braai, otherwise known as a barbecue in Australia, or just I don't know what you would call it in America, a barbecue. Yeah, thanks, Andre. And so wild rosemary is something that I quite enjoyed when I had supper in the Cederberg Mountains. Wow. Zero in Ohio asked me, does South Africa have a national flower? Yes, I'm pretty sure they have a national flower. From what I understand, is from in the Cape is the Protea. The Protea is our national flower. And if you are a cricket supporter, which I highly doubt if you're from America, you'll understand that the Proteas is a cricket team. We call them the Proteas. And there are, I'm just going to head this way towards the sun, as I'm enjoying the sunset a lot. So yes, the Protea is our national flower, and in Cape Town you can find many different species of Protea. They're incredible. Some of them are really thick, some of them are thin, and they, home to the Cape sugarbird. The Cape sugarbird love the Proteas, and especially the ericas. So what the fynbos biome consists of is three different types. It's the restios, the Proteas, and the ericas. And the ericas are long tubular type of flower that sunbirds love to drink from. It's got a perfect shape for the sunbird to put its beak inside and drink the nectar or the pollen inside of the plant. So that's our national flower, the Protea. That's where I'm from. Okay, go and see James with the hyenas. I'll spot you a bit later.
Hi everybody, we've made it to the hyena den, and look what's happening here. It's just my favorite. The two little babies of Madam have grown immeasurably in the last 2 weeks. And that's their mother there, the matriarch of this clan of ours that has provided us with such joy over the last little while, with their torn up ears, and you can see why her ears are torn up. And these are her two little ones, who are now, well, they're just over 3 months old now. Is that correct, Brian? Yes, it is. They're born in January, early January, and they've lost that black color completely. Now, at this stage of a leopard or a lion's life, basically they have weaned. These hyenas have got at least another 3 months worth of weaning to do, and they'll spend some time at the den until they get to that age. I think it's just too sweet. And in the background, you won't be able to see this, and I can't actually move any closer, but it looks to me like Corky and her other two, the other side. Hello, Michael. There is Corky, I think, with her two little ones. Is it Corky? Ooh, hang on. Hang on. That looks like Madam with those torn up ears. Oh, I can't see what's going on here. Let me just get out these powerful binoculars and have a look-see. These are definitely the little ones. The best way, of course, will be to see if one of these little ones has got a little white patch on its back right foot. That one doesn't. Or is it back left? I think it's back left. They're both showing us their back right feet. That's interesting, because that other female there, who's suckling a cub, has got the torn ears of Madam the matriarch, but I don't think that she's got little... Oh, no, it is Corky. It is Corky with a torn ear. I think I can see the top of her head. It's got those scars on it. So I'm pretty sure that's Corky. Anyway, so the question, I think, from Michael about whether they are more closely related to cats or dogs, and many of our experienced viewers will tell you that despite the fact that they look like dogs, they are in fact much more closely related to the cats. And there we go. Look. Who are you now? That must be one of the Novembers. Gosh, they have grown. Gee whiz. I'm pretty sure that's a November youngster. This is wonderful there. Now let's just look and see if there's that white patch. If that white patch has persisted. You can't see it, can you, Brian?
No.
Interesting. So, for those of you who are new viewers, one of these two little ones had a white patch on the left rear foot. And that made it very easy to see which one was which. I mean, I may have got all my identifications completely screwy, given that I've been away for the last little while. I don't think I have. And as Kirsty says, she can't tell anymore. I'm struggling to tell as well. There's a little bit of white there. No, but that's the wrong foot. Come on, turn round. That's a little female. That's interesting. Okay, so that's a little female, so that must be the one with the white patch. That must be... No, it's not. There's no white patch there anymore. Maybe the white patch has disappeared. Yeah. So thank you, Crystal, very much for your update. Corky, you say, is missing the tip of her left ear, which the hyena in the background is, and Madam has got 2 notches in her left and 1 in her right. And that seems to be the case here, so I'm pretty sure I've got it right. But what is interesting is that that white patch that was on the back end of one of these little hyenas seems to have, well, kind of grown over. We'll only be able to tell that for sure when the other little one comes along. The other way to tell, of course, that this is Madam the matriarch, well, not that one, but that is the daughter of Madam the matriarch, now tripping over a piece of stick. There you can see the 2 notches in her left ear. Very nice. Thank you for that, Crystal. That's brilliant. And the other way to tell, of course, is that she is tremendously patient with all the other cubs. And Corky often isn't. She does seem to be being pretty patient now. But isn't this a wonderful den now with all this chlorus grass? All that Chlorus roxburghiana it's called. It's just a really marvellous place to live, I think, if you happen to be a hyena. And that's a Cokie Franklin you can hear in the background. Chee, 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 chee. Some red-faced mouse birds. Choo-choo, choo-choo, choo-choo. So nice to be back here, I must say. There's the other little one through the chlorus grass. Oh, if only I had a great big long lens like Brent Leo Smith's, I'd take an award-winning photograph now. There. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Alas, every time it's come to investing in camera equipment, I've gone for guitars instead. This is wonderful. Oh, James Richard, of course. I've lost my mind completely. You're absolutely correct. So, these are the January cubs, you're correct, and it is the December ones, D1 and D2, one of which had the white patch. Yes, thank you. I've lost my mind. That's exactly correct. So, the female December cub, I think there was a male and a female, D1 had the left rear foot with that little white patch, and D2 had normal feet, and is, I think, a male. And I think this is maybe the first, initially when I saw these two youngsters, the two January cubs, when I saw them, I thought they were both males, but I think that one we just saw with her, if it is a she, with her pseudo-penis extended, I think that is a female. You saw it was very straight on the end, it wasn't pinched. Thank you, James, for clearing that up. I thought I'd gone mad. This is just great. Pretty nightmare, you want to know where June is. Pretty nightmare, I'm afraid I can't tell you. I've got no idea where June is at this stage. But remember, June is now almost a year old. Now from 8 months, they will start to move away from the den, and they will go foraging with the adults. And although June may well come back here every so often to spend some time, she will be largely independent of the den now. And a few mornings ago, we saw two hyenas, not too far from here, but they were kind of lurking under a bush. Two young hyenas. Could have been two males. June, I think, is a male, and could well have been her or him there. Of course, June is a girl's name, but not in the hyena world. Now, of course, as we approach June 2017, at least 16, we're going to have to think about renaming these animals, or just adding the year as well to their names. So, right, Sam's got a beautiful shot of the western horizon to show you. Let's go and have a look there.
Those colors in the distance are remarkable. From a white to a blue to a yellow to a golden, all meshed up in one beautiful sunset. I'm sure we might be able to see some red as the evening progresses, or maybe we just left the red. I'm not too sure. But just called the silver cluster leaf, otherwise known as the Terminalia syrensis. I think that's right, Terminalia syrensis. And while we're looking here at this silver cluster leaf, you can see that there's all sorts of things happening. When you first sit with a system, all you're going to see is the tree, but we have a little bit closer look. You can see these little ants walking around, and it's incredible when you stop to look at organisms in the natural world, especially plants. You begin to see the life and the activity that exists around it, and how they move around, and how they work together, and how they work as a system, and they decentralize their work. I mean, if we looked at this silver cluster leaf a little bit longer, we'd get to know it a bit better, and we'd understand maybe there'd be other bugs that come and eat the silver cluster leaf, specific bugs, So here, as I started, with the story of the silver cluster leaf, I first want to say that what's incredible about a silver cluster leaf is that there's two types of defenses really with plants. You get the mechanical defense, which you'll find in a buffalo thorn. Buffalo thorn you'll see is hooked, and when you're walking in the bush, you'll often feel the buffalo thorn, and that's it's a mechanical defense, defending the tree. Other plants, such as the silver cluster leaf, has a chemical defense, and that chemical defense is tannins, and in the leaf are a whole bunch of tannins that then, when the animals eat it, it dries their mouth out completely. So when I never met the silver cluster leaf, I didn't know that was its defense. And what actually was happening when I first met silver cluster leaf, I was out in the middle of the savannah and we were doing a drill with rifles when I was learning my rifles at Lionesses, and I sat and I was so nervous about, doing this drill that I started chewing on a plant. And so I started chewing on the silver cluster leaf right before I went and did my drill, and my mouth just started going all tangy and dry, and I still did the drill fine, but my mouth was so dry. So it's incredible to learn about these little defenses and the way in which the intricate ecosystem, or how the plants work in the ecosystem to survive. And with that, we're going to carry on through the sunset. We're going to link back to James, see you just now.
That's my head in the way, everybody, but we're still here with the magnificent hyena den. Madam has sat up, and as I said, the sun has just gone down, so chances are that she's going to go foraging fairly soon. Let me just get out of the way. She really does have a slightly, not bedraggled, but a severe look about her, I think. It's no wonder that she is the matriarch of this clan. She looks quite old as well. It's such an honor to be around them again. She obviously likes that little hole to sit in. It's her favorite sofa. Brian is being attacked by mosquitoes at the moment. He's really having a rough time of it. Mosquitoes, allergens, histamines. Sorry, Brian, what I'm going to ask you to do before you zoom in on the cubs there, can you zoom in on the rear end of Madam, just because it'll give us a nice idea of exactly what goes on there. So I know it can be extremely confusing as to what happens with a sort of hyena's sexual organs, but basically that arrangement there is known as the false scrotum, and that's why it looks like they've got testicles, the hyena females. Very different from any other mammal that you'll ever see. It is really quite astonishing. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's go across to the youngsters that are now playing in the grass, chewing things, pulling things from each other. In amongst the Chlorus roxburghiana, the feathered Chlorus, I think it's called. Chewing. They have to chew, of course, because those muscles that are developing in their necks and up into their heads are so powerful and so important to their existence. The only jaws out here, other than a crocodile's, that can and do regularly crush bone to suck out the fat, rich marrow. Norm, thank you for this question. Thank you for two reasons. Firstly, thank you slightly sarcastically for asking me a question that I don't know how to answer. And secondly, thank you in all seriousness, because I don't know how to answer it. It's going to have an interesting discussion point. You want to know how similar this hyena is to the North American Ice Age hyena. Is that correct? Or North European Ice Age hyena? The answer is that I don't know, Norm, except to say that I'm pretty sure that they would have belonged to the same family. So that is the family of the Hyenidae. And I know throughout the world there were hyenas distributed before the last ice age. They even went into Australia. I think there were some giant hyenas found there, very large hyenas. And they would all have been sort of relatively closely related. So more closely related than these hyenas are to cats or dogs or mongoose, but probably more distantly related than they are to, say, brown hyenas or striped hyenas or the aardvark. So those that went extinct a long time ago would have shared a common ancestor with these hyenas many millions of years ago, probably up to 2 or 3 million years ago, but their common ancestor with those hyenas would have been more closely or more recent than the common ancestor between dogs and cats and hyenas. So I hope that answers your question. It's a good one. And all over the world, of course, we were chatting this morning about how lions used to be the most widely distributed land mammal in the world, well, next to human beings, up to about 10,000 years ago. And all over the world, there were big cats. All over the world, there were different species of hyena, different species of tiger, those saber-toothed cats, more than just the saber-toothed tiger that we all know of, but lots and lots of different kinds of saber-toothed cats. And of course, one of the most famous, not predators, but prehistoric animals that looks like an animal from Africa is the woolly mammoth. And I know I've told this story before, but it was a while back, the most ridiculous question I was ever asked. Now, I do say often that there is no such thing as a stupid question. This question certainly pushed the boundaries. I was driving along one day on the safari, and a guest tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Do you still get woolly mammoths here?" And, of course, woolly mammoths have been extinct for probably at least 10 or 20,000 years, maybe not quite, 10 or 20,000 years. I said to her, I turned around and looked at her. Now, she was from South Africa, so she really had no excuse not to know better. And I said, not for some time, no. There is D2, probably, playing with January 1 or 2. I haven't seen the little white foot yet, and I think that the white-footed female is probably still suckling. And while this is quite sweet behavior, of course, it does have an element of seriousness to it. Of course, those youngsters being born to the matriarch will eventually be much more dominant members of this clan. It's so sweet. It's based purely on hereditary title. And I think it's very unusual, and I haven't read of any examples where a hyena hierarchy is taken over by a bloodline unrelated to the matriarch. So normally her oldest or largest daughter will take over from her when she dies. It's very seldom that she would be killed in a kind of forced violent takeover. Although I can't believe it doesn't happen. So although I've never read about it happening, I can't believe it doesn't happen. Simply because it would mean, as it does with human beings, if a title becomes purely hereditary, eventually it's going to become weaker, because often, of course, great leaders don't necessarily breed great leaders. And as you've often seen with royal families, very dominant great kings have produced extremely weak and unwise sons. And I think the same principle must surely apply in the animal kingdom. There's no reason that her offspring should necessarily be better leaders than anyone else, except that, as with human beings, they are born into the hierarchy, they're born into the royal lineage, which means they immediately have a sense of entitlement, definitely, and they also have a sense of dominance and leadership. It's quite an interesting one. And it's much more dominant. You know, we talk about the other matriarchal society of the area being the elephants. And while elephants most certainly do live in a matriarchal society, that dominance is really it's not a managerial role, it's a leadership role, where it's not a dominance role, it's a leadership role, where that female, the lead matriarch, will make the decisions on where to go and drink and where to find the best forage. Whereas in a hyena clan, the matriarch is the most dominant female. She will eat first, she will dominate at kills, she will be the most likely the most aggressive, and most likely to dominate the others. And you can see these two are ganging up on their cousin and definitely reaffirming that they are the children of the big cheese. I suppose, strictly speaking, we should call this hyena some others have arrived. That's Corky, who's just stood up. Let's look out for the white patch. And that looks like Pretty to me. The daughter of November. She's a pristine-looking hyena. I've all gone to say hello to them now. And it is getting very dark here. We won't be here for much longer, everyone. We're just going to wait for the light to fade on its own. We're not going to add any light. One of the hyenas, I can just see, they were obviously lying around the den here, has moved off into the night. Looked like a sub-adult, maybe June. And I suspect quite strongly that Pretty was just lying down around here. There you can see one moving off on the left-hand side of your screen. Hello, Joe, on Twitter. You want to know if they might mate with brown hyenas, these spotted hyenas. Oh, look, that's Pretty. She's just gorgeous. And Joe, the answer is no. It would be the same as asking, would a... let me try and think of a good example. There she is. Hello. Hi. It would really be like asking, would a wildebeest mate with a sable antelope? And the answer is no. They're that distantly related. So they're the same family. They're a different genus, though, which means that they're unable to mate together. So it's not like the situation with a lion and a leopard, which are part of the same genus. Not a lion, leopard, lion and a tiger, which then they can produce a not necessarily a viable offspring, or like a donkey and a horse, which can produce an offspring called a mule, and it's not like that. They're much more distantly related. Please excuse the focus. It's not Brian making errors, it's the lens, which is a bit of a problem. That's my knee. Isn't that cool? He's so close. Hi. Hello. There's another one. They're just too much fun, these chaps. Pretty's heading off into the night now. Oh, no, she's lying down. And the last embers of the day just shining on her there. So we're into the changing of the guard, that beautiful time of the night, and I'm asked sometimes what my favorite time of the day is. Well, it's just before sunup, and it's just after sundown. Changing of the guard now, when all of the diurnal animals, the diurnal birds, have stopped singing. They're all going to find their places to roost, cuddling up together for the night ahead. And the owls are ruffling their feathers and waking up. The nightjars are taking to the skies, as are the bats, as they seek out a meal in the night. And also, of course, on the ground, the lions, the leopards, and the hyenas will start to go hunting or sleeping, as that one seems to be doing. But they will move off. Thank you. Hello, Laura. Laura, you want to know if when the den site changes, if the matriarch goes to another den site, will all the others necessarily go with her? And Laura, the answer is no, not always. Well, if she moves the den, you'll probably find they will go with her, most likely. But when they give birth, when a subdominant hyena gives birth, it's often not at the central den. And interestingly, when Madam gave birth, she didn't give birth at the central den. She gave birth at the den on Mvubu Road, and everyone else then moved to her, which was quite interesting. There was nobody at that den before she gave birth there, and then everyone else moved across there to join her. Corky, if I remember correctly, gave birth down on the Philemon's Cutline den, which is a long way from here, and sort of a week or two after her cubs were born, she brought them up to the central den. So Yeah, they probably do seek out the company of the matriarch if she is at the den and if she has cubs. If she doesn't have cubs with her, so I mean, once these chaps are sort of 8 months old, or maybe even above 6 months, it's unlikely that she will spend as much time at the den as she does. And so then you probably find that cohesion around the den probably does break up a bit, and they'll go to a number of different dens. Thank you, Laura. You can just hear them making their lovely little sounds there, just off in amongst the grass still. Well, we'll spend another 3 minutes or so here. And I'm just going to get hold of Sam quickly. I think he's trying to get to the lions. Of course, he has no idea about the roads yet. Why should he? And so I'm just going to quickly see if I can't help him to get in to see the lions. They also could have moved by now. Sam, do you copy, Sam? Look at them with their little tails up. There's one right close by here again. Can't get hold of Sam. Sam, do you copy, Sam? Look at that. Hi. This hyena, everybody, is now 1.5 feet from my snout. Hello. Sam is now calling me on the radio. Excuse me, Mr. Hyena. Sam, what is your position? Are you struggling to find the den? Sorry. They're in that drainage line. They were in that drainage line that you drove through just before I saw you on drive. You should get visual from them. If they're in the same place, you'll get visual from them on the western side of Mvubu Road in that drainage line on the road. Affirmative. I mean, if you just back from where I first saw you, in that drainage line, you'll see them there. Okay, Sam's on his way. See if they're still there. You can see how dark it's getting. Affirmative, Andrew. Andrew's also going to help Sam get in there. There's definitely a space, Andrew. Maybe you can give Sam a hand. Now, Jamie was supposed to go out with Sam today to help him with the roads and that sort of thing. But she had to play mechanic because she's the most mechanically minded of us. And she had to help fix Jigger, who returned from hospital today, unfortunately still injured. And so she had to take care of that. Just wonderful to spend a bit more time with these chaps. All right, everybody, I think we're going to leave here. We'll take a few more questions, just because it's getting dark and we don't want to put any light on them. Ooh. Nice question from Madison in Nevada. Madison, you want to know if there's an alpha male in the hyena clan? Well, not so much. Now remember, we don't refer to an alpha female in a hyena clan. We refer to a matriarch. There is no alpha pair like there is in the dog pack. There is the matriarch, and then there is a separate dominance hierarchy for the males in a hyena clan. All of the males, however, are subordinate to all of the females within the clan. So although there is a male hierarchy, you wouldn't describe any of them as being alpha, simply because they don't lead anything. It just means that they're able to dominate at kills. But unlike with a dog pack, a wolf pack, or a wild dog pack, where the alpha male will actually lead a hunt, that doesn't happen here. looking off into the darkness. You can see it's getting very dark indeed, and it's much darker actually in reality than it is on your screens. But everyone's very calm. And that is the last embers of the 5th of April 2014. No, it's not 2016.
Phew, 2 years back.
I've been doing my audiobook, and all of the letters in my audiobook are dated 2014. Alrighty, that's it everybody. I think we're going to leave. It is getting very dark here now, and like I say, they're too young to put light on them, so let's head out. We'll head towards those lines and see if we can't give a hand and find them. I suspect they probably have moved by now, so let's go and give a hand around there, and we'll come back here another time for some more special moments with the hyena clan of Djuma. If we can start the car. As we did that, Madam's making her way off. The cubs have gone back into the den, and so it's the good time to leave. Hello, Mia. A very nice question. How long does it take to learn the roads here? Well, Mia, it depends on your spatial awareness, not your sense of direction, but your ability to space yourself and have spatial awareness. It takes someone like me a bit longer than it takes someone like Brent, for example, or Scott, or Jamie. I think Jamie learned extremely fast. I don't know, it will depend on Sam. But I mean, within a week or two, he will know where all the boundaries are, and he will know the main roads. And then I think sort of 2 weeks after that, he'll know all of the other roads. It's not a very large reserve. So that's basically how it works. And I mean, he'll find a guy like Sam, if he's anything like me, he'll know where the lodge is. So he'll know where the camp is. He'll have an orientation of where he is, but obviously he won't know the individual spots. But I had a friend once who I worked with at Lionesses, and I was training him, and he drove a road once, and he knew exactly where it was and exactly what its name was from just one drive over it. It was absolutely astonishing. And the road network at Lionesses is extremely confusing. We've got about 250 kilometers. That is about it's over 100 miles of roads there. A much bigger reserve, obviously. And he learnt those in about 3 or 4 weeks. And it took many people years to learn all of the intricacies of that road network. So it really does depend on the individual. I'm not particularly good at it. It's probably got something. There's probably the same fault in my being, in my makeup, that means I'm so poor at at drawing. My ability to be spatially aware is very poor indeed. Right, spotlight time. Very interesting to note what Sam's spotlighting technique is. We've discussed the different spotlighting techniques. Sam's got the lines. Brilliant stuff. Let's go across and have a look at them. Oh, sorry. No, we're not really. He's not in position just yet, but he has found them. So he doesn't need my help. We'll wait for him to get in position, and then we'll link to him. So like I was saying, you'll have to check for his spotlighting technique. We've got the Jamie technique. We've got the Brent Leo Smith technique. Brent, of course, can't keep his hands still, so even if he's talking, he'll have it like this. Okay, let's go across to Sam and his first big predator sighting at Djuma.
We are by the lions. The first sighting of a pride of lions that I've had on WildEarthTV. Myself and Jean-Ray have just been missioning through the block here, looking for the Nkuhuma pride. If I've said that correctly, I hope so. Jean-Ray, was that right?
I think that's right.
Great, thanks, Jean-Ray.
It's possibly on the bottom.
Okay. Wow, what a bit spectacular sighting. In the evening, this is the best opportunity that we're going to see active lions. Oh man, the first predator that I've had on WildEarthTV. I haven't had a predator yet, so this is my first time. And we were actually sitting a little bit earlier with the pride. They were actually stalking a impala, and it was great to watch them be active. And they also they were stalking each other. It was so much fun to watch them. They were very playful. But here we're sitting with them, as you can see, grooming herself. I'm starting to get to know the pride a little bit better. This morning, James was amazing. He was explaining the whole pride. I think that could be amber eyes. Is that amber eyes, John?
Hard to see her eyes.
Yeah. So yes, James this morning was helping me so much with my knowledge of this pride and the dynamics of it and the way in which it's interacting with the territory here and the local males that are here, the Birmingham males. It was fascinating to find out the dynamics of this pride and the type of food that it likes to eat. It's always interesting coming across a new pride. I'm always so fascinated by lionesses. They're such strong, big, individuals. The pride and how they look after themselves. And when I was walking back in my training, I've came across lions a few times, and I would be way more scared to come across a female lion than a male lion. I just had that feeling when I was at Lionesses. I was very, very aware of the lioness. Beautiful light that's coming onto her eyes. You can see her eyes glinting. As you can see, they are lying down right now. And it's, most of the time during the day you're going to get flat cats, which means that they like to lie down during the day. And take in their energy, get the energy back, lie under some shade, and get away from the heat of the sun. Sometimes the heat can really take it out on them, so they like to be flat on the floor. Maybe sometimes they'll play with each other and groom themselves and take, like I saw loads of ticks just under their eye this morning, and so you'll see them grooming and playing sometimes, but at night time they're going to get up and they're going to start becoming a little bit more active. So if we're lucky this evening, we'll be able to see some activity, any activity, whether they get up and walk around or they start hunting, which means, oh, wow, did you see him open her mouth like that? Wow. How's it, Yelena? Beautiful name. Yes, these are all lionesses. I mean, from what I can see, I haven't seen any males in the area, and there weren't any males this morning. So generally, females and youngsters will be together in their prides, and these are a group of female lions. So it's females. Yelena. Often the male will come through at different times of their day. They'll go around, and the males are the dominant ones, that they protect the territory. The females, on the other hand, they rear the cubs and they create food. Sometimes they'll catch the food, and the male lions will often take food from the females that they've hunted so hard to get. It's like they've taken a lot of energy to get these prey, and often the male just comes and takes it. I've seen that a few times. It's quite exciting to watch. I actually watched a male lion who took over the pride's it was a big giraffe kill, and the male lion didn't let any of the other lions come in to the eating. It literally ate that whole giraffe. I watched it the whole morning just eat this giraffe, and then when it was getting tired, it would just put its paws on the belly of the giraffe, and the little lionesses, it was so great actually. The little lionesses would try and get to it, and the male lion would get angry and give a very loud growl to show dominance, to say, this is my kill, I'm eating. So it can be difficult sometimes for the prides. But when you watch a pride of lion eating, it's also quite a remarkable thing. Just as I said, we were talking about the wild dogs a little bit earlier, and the wild dogs are so quick to eat their meal. Sometimes they can take, they just take so quick. I think it was like up to 5 minutes that the impala, between 11 wild dogs took that apart. And much the same with lionesses. They'll kill and they'll start eating as much as they can and get the food, the nutrients that they need in order to be strong and fit. But yes, so thanks so much for that question, Yelena. I really appreciate it. It's a great question. And I think James was saying this morning that there are about 3 other prides that will be in the Birmingham males territory, which is very interesting. And I think one of them is called the Sticks Pride. So if anyone's out there, they can tweet in #SafariLive and give me the names of the prides that the male lions hold territory. And I know it's the Sticks and the Nkuhuma, and I've Nkuhuma. I hope I'm saying this right. Nkuhumas. I'm going to keep practicing that late into the night this evening. But if anyone could please tell me what the other pride is, I would really appreciate that. It'll help with my learning, and it'll all just be a great experience. Wow. And just in front of you, you can see the silver cluster leaf, what we saw a little bit earlier. So the silver cluster leaf. Yeah. And the lions. Now, lions play an incredibly important role within an ecosystem. That's something that really fascinates me. It's the relationship of a predator to a landscape, and how this predator will regulate the number of species here. If you didn't have the lioness and the leopard and the other types of predators within this landscape, it would really, I think it would deteriorate, or I know it would deteriorate the landscape in such a way that the vegetation would become destroyed over time, because the lionesses and the lions and the leopards, and even when you're overseas, and jaguars and pantanal will all regulate the species in the ecosystem and help for a more biodiverse, more rich ecosystem. And that's something that you can learn from within biomimicry, is that you learn that diversity is key within anything, within the ecosystem. To have other role players in the ecosystem creates resilience, it creates decentralization. It's incredible how the predator influences the landscape. And I'm really interested to learn a little bit more about how these lions will influence and give me such rich experiences while I'm here on SafariLive.
I tend to agree with Sam there. Sleeping lions definitely make me feel deeply sleepy indeed. So I'm quite pleased that as the day has come to an end, I am not sitting with them sleeping. I'm surprised they haven't got up and moved, given how hungry they looked. But they are right around the dam today, and so I would keep an eye on the Djuma Dam cam as the night progresses here and the day progresses in the Western Hemisphere, and tomorrow progresses in the Eastern Hemisphere. I have got that right, yes, I have got that right. And you may be in luck with the Nkuhuma pride taking something down in front of the dam cam this evening. Animals, of course, it's one of the reasons that they drink during the late evening or the early evening. It's because they don't really want to be drinking around this time of night. They're very vulnerable when they're drinking, and of course this is when the lions and the hyenas and the leopards start to get active. As we saw, the hyenas have just left, they've gone foraging, and it won't be too long before those lions get up and start moving around. And this is a lovely road. So we're heading towards the Djuma Dam pan now, and we'll see what is there. Perhaps something is waiting there to be eaten. Also rather hoping to see what is at the end of those male leopard tracks we had earlier. Keep an eye out there. Tingana might come back for a foray, for a quick drink here this evening. I don't think Karula will come this far north if she doesn't have to. But you never know, so keep an eye out there. I haven't heard any reports on them, save for the fact that they went into Hoffman's, which is just to the south of us. So I'm pretty sure they finished mating, and Tingana came back north. But who those male leopard tracks were that I saw this evening, I couldn't begin to tell you, to be honest, because they weren't big enough to be Tinganas. Maybe they're Mbulas. He has, as Brent said the other night, he put it very succinctly, he said he's become a dispersal male again. And that's normally the title that we'd give to a young male who was trying to sort of sort himself out of territory. But in Mbula's case, he's basically come to the end of his tenure. And so he will wander about the place, a male of no fixed abode. It's a little bit like you and me, Brian. And he will basically just live out his days as a non-territorial male. All right, everybody, that's going to be it from Brian and I this evening. Thank you very much indeed for coming along on the drive with us. I've had a great time, I must say. Lovely lions and elephants and hyenas and some incredible scenery as the autumn starts to take hold. Big thank you to Brian. Thank you. Thank you to the final control of Kirsten, McLennan-Smith and Rebecca. That's Brian's thumb. And a big welcome and thanks to Sam. He's being filmed by Jean-Andre the Foot. And thank you all for your kind welcomes to Sam. I think it's wonderful to have him on the team, and I look forward to working with him. And I will see you tomorrow at 0600. Until then, stay safe and happy wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you can hear the lions are having a sleep. Joking, that was me making an impression of the lions sleeping. It seems that they're not going to be active this evening, or they will be active a little bit later, but not while we're out here. So they're just lying down. They've been very lazy today, actually. So it's not a bad thing. You know, they're probably going to get their rest, and in a couple of hours they're going to move out and see if they can find some prey for the evening and settle down for the night. But I just want to, while I'm here, while it's the end of the drive, I just want to say thank you to everyone. It was before drive, I was very nervous or rather, nervous is the wrong word. I was very excited. I didn't know how it was going to be when I was out there. So it's been incredible. I've really enjoyed it. I've felt it live. It's been amazing, and I'm so grateful for this experience. I'm learning every single day, and I'm so glad that you guys are all there during this learning experience, as well as these beautiful lions who are sleeping that maybe can just hear me. But thank you to everyone on the team. Jean-Andre has been amazing behind the camera. He's really helped me in the thickets, as well as Kirsty as a director. Thank you, Kirsty, and everyone on the team. James, you're a legend. Thank you, everyone. Good night.